Imagine telling an AI to build you a complete SaaS application, and then just walking away for half an hour while it does exactly that. That's not a pitch. That actually happened, and today we're going to break down exactly how, and more importantly, how you can do it yourself. So there's a new feature that just dropped across both Claude Code and OpenAI's Codex, and it's called /goal. And while that might sound like a small update, a new command, whatever, I think it represents something genuinely significant in how we're going to build software going forward. Let me explain what it actually does, because once you understand the mechanics, the implications become pretty clear. Before /goal existed, working with an AI coding agent was still a fairly manual process. You'd give it a task, it would do the task, it would hand control back to you, you'd review what happened, give it the next task, and so on. It's powerful, but you're still in the loop constantly. You're the one keeping the thread alive, making sure the next step gets kicked off. That's fine for smaller things, but for anything genuinely complex, a multi-feature application, a 6-phase build with dozens of tasks, it starts to feel like you're basically just a very tired project manager manually pinging a contractor every 15 minutes. /goal changes that loop. Here's how it works mechanically. You define a completion condition, a specific, measurable statement of what done looks like. The agent then starts working toward that condition, turn by turn. After each turn, a separate small, fast model checks whether the goal condition has been met. If it hasn't, the agent automatically starts another turn. If it has, it stops and hands control back to you. That's it, no manual re-prompting, no babysitting each step. The agent just keeps going until the work is genuinely finished. The completion condition itself can be up to 4,000 characters, which is actually pretty generous. And the way to write a good one follows a clear structure. One measurable end state. What does the finished thing look like? Constraints on what must not change while the work is happening, and a clear definition of done. The team behind this puts it really well. A good goal is bigger than one prompt but smaller than an open-ended backlog. It's not, build me a startup, and it's not, fix this one bug. It's somewhere in between, a defined, completable chunk of real work. Now, the feature works in isolation, but it works dramatically better when you pair it with a few things. First, auto mode. Both Claude Code and Codex have a setting that reduces the number of permission prompts the agent fires at you mid-task. If you've got /goal running autonomously and the agent keeps stopping to ask, "Are you sure I should create this file?" you've kind of defeated the purpose. Auto mode smooths that out. Second, and this is the bigger one, spec documents. The single biggest factor in getting great output from /goal is the quality of what you give it before it starts. The recommended setup is 3 documents. A PRD, a product requirements document that describes what you're building and why. A product roadmap that breaks the work into individual, checkable tasks, and I mean specifically checkable, like items on a list that can be marked complete. And a design file, usually called design.md, that gives the agent visual direction, colors, typography, the aesthetic feel you're going for, component style references. That last one matters more than people expect. Without design direction, AI-generated interfaces tend to look like, well, AI-generated interfaces. Generic, a little flat, immediately recognizable as machine-made. A design reference file pulls it toward something that actually looks intentional. The recommended workflow is, before you even invoke /goal, use plan mode first. Let the agent read your specs and generate a structured plan. Then use that plan as your completion criteria when you invoke /goal. The agent essentially builds against a roadmap it helped create, which means it already understands the shape of the work. Okay, so let's talk about what actually happened when someone tested this end-to-end. The setup was a full-stack Next.js SaaS application, the kind of thing that would typically take days or weeks to scaffold from scratch. We're talking Convex for the backend, Clerk for authentication, Polar for payments, integrations with YouTube and OpenAI stubbed out and ready to wire up. 6 phases of development, 62 individual tasks on the roadmap. Both Claude Code and Codex were given the same 3 spec documents, the PRD, the roadmap, the design file, and /goal was invoked with a completion condition tied to all 62 roadmap checkboxes being marked done and committed to a local Git repository. Both tools finished in approximately 32 minutes. Now I want to be precise about what that means, because finished could mean a lot of things. This is a working prototype and a solid foundation, it's not production ready. You wouldn't take this output and hand it directly to customers tomorrow. But all 62 tasks were completed. The codebase was structured. The integrations were stubbed correctly. The UI reflected the design spec. And everything was committed to Git with a clear history. That's a genuinely remarkable starting point. What used to be days of scaffolding and boilerplate is now 30 minutes of the AI running while you make coffee. What happens after /goal finishes is also worth thinking about. Once the agent stops and returns control to you, you're not done. You're at the beginning of the next phase, which is deployment and real-world setup. The recommended move here is to immediately ask the agent to walk you through deploying what it just built, step by step, environment variables, third-party service setup, Vercel configuration, all of it. The agent has full context on what it built, so it can give you precise, accurate deployment guidance rather than generic documentation. It becomes like having a technical co-founder who built the thing and is now walking you through how to launch it. There's a broader pattern here that's worth naming. /goal is essentially a productized version of what some developers have been doing manually for a while, running agents in loops, checking conditions, chaining turns together. What's new is that it's a first-class feature now, built into the tools, with a proper evaluation model running between turns. It's not a workaround, it's intended behavior. And that shift from, you can kind of hack this together, to, this is how the tool is designed to work, is significant, because it means these tools are being built with the explicit assumption that agents should be running longer, more autonomous, more complex tasks. The process of going from idea to working software is getting condensed in ways that are genuinely hard to wrap your head around. Not compressed a little, compressed massively. A full application foundation in 32 minutes is a data point that would have seemed implausible 2 years ago. And the key ingredients aren't magical, they're specific. Good spec documents, clear context going in, a goal that the AI knows how to recognize as done. If you give the agent those 3 things, you're not hoping it does something useful. You're setting it up to succeed. The real unlock isn't the tool itself, it's learning to give it exactly what it needs to run on its own.